The sky turned dark at noon, not from clouds, but from the massive ships that blocked the sun. They appeared suddenly over every major city on Earth. People stopped in the streets. Cars crashed. Phones lit up with calls and messages. Jum Kim was grading papers when the school alarm sounded. He looked out the window of his classroom and saw it, a ship bigger than any building he had ever seen, hovering over Seoul. "Everyone stay calm," he told his history students, though his own heart raced. "Move to the shelter as we practiced." Across the city, Jum's wife, Mana, was at the shooting range. She had been practicing for the regional competition next week. The loud emergency alert made everyone lower their weapons. On the range's television, the news showed the same ships appearing worldwide. "What are they?" asked Taedong, another member of the shooting club. "Not ours," Minna said simply, packing her gear quickly. She needed to get home to their children. In the National Defense Building, Director Kang stood before screens showing the alien ships over every continent. "Have they made contact?" she asked, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. "Nothing yet," her aide replied. "Our signals get no response. The Americans, Russians, Chinese, all report the same. Keep trying all frequencies and get me the president." Just then, every screen in the room flickered. Every television broadcast, every phone, every computer around the world showed the same image. A being that looked almost human, but with pale blue skin and eyes too large for its face. "People of Earth," the being spoke in perfect, unaccented English. "I am Admiral Lork of the Varn Imperium. Your planet now falls under our protection and authority. Resistance is unnecessary and unadvised." Director Kang grabbed a secure phone. "Madam President, are you seeing this?" June arrived home just as Mina pulled into their driveway. They rushed inside to find their children, Hana and Duri, watching the alien broadcast with wide eyes. "Dad, are they really aliens?" Hana asked. At 12, she was trying to sound brave. "Yes," Jun said, not wanting to lie. He had taught history long enough to know what invasions looked like. This was one. Mina checked that all doors were locked. "Have they said what they want?" "They call themselves the Varn," Huri said. At 14, he had been taking notes like his father would. "They say Earth is now part of their empire." The broadcast continued as the family gathered in their living room. "Your weapons cannot harm us. Your militaries cannot stop us," Admiral Lork continued. "We have studied your world for decades. Earth will join 37 other worlds in our glorious Imperium. You have 48 hours to instruct your leaders to surrender formally." The message repeated. Then the screens returned to normal, except now with the alien message playing in a corner. Mina's phone rang. It was Taeyong from the shooting club. "Are you watching?" "What do we do?" he asked. "I don't know yet," Mina said. As the club's best marksman, people looked to her for answers. "But I'm not surrendering to anyone." Director Kang exited the emergency meeting with the president and military leaders. No one had good options. Earth's weapons seemed primitive compared to ships that could appear from nowhere. Her aide handed her a tablet. "Reports coming in from around the world. The aliens have landed smaller ships in several cities. They're walking around, scanning things. They're armed but not attacking." Kang studied the images. The aliens wore what looked like advanced armor suits. They carried weapons unlike anything she had seen. "They're scouting," she said, "learning our weaknesses before the 48 hours end." And then, Kang looked at the countdown clock they had started. 46 hours remaining. "And then we either surrender or fight an enemy that crossed the stars to find us." She watched video of the aliens moving with military precision through Tokyo. "But I don't think they understand Earth very well if they expect us to just give up our home." Little did the Varn know, Earth had something no other world they conquered had: billions of civilians who wouldn't surrender without a fight. The world changed overnight. Streets that were once busy now stood empty. In Seoul, Joan woke early after a restless night. The alien ship still hung in the sky, casting a shadow over the city. 36 hours left, Minna said, checking her phone. She had spent most of the night cleaning her hunting rifles and checking her ammunition supply. Why are you doing that? June asked. Their ships can fly across space. What can bullets do against them? Minna loaded a magazine with practiced hands. I don't know, but I won't just wait to be conquered. Their son Dury entered the kitchen, eyes red from lack of sleep. The news says they landed more ships during the night. They're walking around, scanning things, but not hurting anyone yet. They're learning about us, Jun said. The history teacher in him recognized the pattern. When you want to control a new place, first you study it. Director Kang hadn't slept. The emergency command center under Seoul was filled with military and government officials trying to find a solution. Our jets can't even get close to their ships, General Park reported. The ships have some kind of shield. And the ground troops they've landed, their armor seems impenetrable to our weapons. The same reports are coming in from every country, Kang said. But there's something strange. Look at their numbers. On the screen, satellite images showed alien troops in cities worldwide. They've only landed about 10,000 troops total, she continued. That's not enough to control Earth. Maybe that's all they need with their technology, someone suggested. Kang shook her head. No, they're testing us. These are their elite forces. They're, what did the intercepted communications call them? An intelligence officer spoke up. The Deathbringer Legion. Apparently, they're the most feared military unit in their empire. They expect these Deathbringers to scare us into surrender, Kang said, which means they don't understand humans very well. At noon, all screens on Earth showed Admiral Lork again. People of Earth, you have 36 hours remaining. Our Deathbringer Legion is assessing your world. They have conquered 37 worlds before yours. None could stand against them. The camera pulled back to show one of the alien soldiers. It stood 2 meters tall, covered in dark armor with glowing blue lines. Its helmet had no visible eyes, just a smooth faceplate that reflected like a mirror. Your militaries are primitive. Your weapons are ineffective. Surrender, and you will be treated well as new members of the Imperium. Jun watched with his family. Something about the message bothered him. They keep saying our militaries are weak, he said. They're only thinking about our armies. Minna nodded slowly. They don't understand Earth. Her phone was buzzing constantly. Messages from her shooting club, from hunter friends, from people she'd met at competitions across Korea. What are all these messages? Joan asked. People asking what we should do, she replied. I think we need to meet. By evening, Minna's shooting club had gathered in their usual practice hall. But instead of 5 or 6 members, over 50 people had come. Hunters, competitive shooters, and gun owners from around Seoul. The aliens expect to fight soldiers, Minna told the room. But on Earth, it's not just soldiers who know how to shoot. Taeyong raised his hand. My brother is in the army. He says their weapons do nothing against the alien armor. Military weapons are designed for different purposes, said old Mr. Han, who had been hunting in the mountains for 60 years. Has anyone tried a hunting rifle yet? The room fell silent. We need to find out what works, Minna said. We need to test different ammunition, different weapons. You're talking about fighting them, someone said. That's crazy. What's crazy is giving up our world without trying, Minna replied. In the command center, Director Kang received reports of civilians gathering across the country. They're organizing on their own, her aide said, showing her social media posts. Kang studied the screens, hunting clubs, shooting ranges, even historical martial arts groups were mobilizing. The Varn made a mistake, she said quietly. They study our militaries, our governments, our technology, but they missed something important. What's that? On Earth, it's not just soldiers who know how to fight. As night fell again, the countdown continued. 30 hours remained until the deadline. But across Earth, Millions of civilians were preparing for what would come after. The Varn Imperium was about to learn a painful lesson about humanity. The deadline came and went. No surrender was offered. Admiral Lork stood on the bridge of his command ship, looking down at Earth through a view screen, his blue skin wrinkled in disgust. Primitive and stubborn, he said to Commander Vex, who led the Deathbringer Legion, just like the others at first. Vex's armor made soft humming sounds as he moved. His helmet retracted, showing a face similar to Lork's, but with scars across his cheeks. The conquest plan is ready, Admiral. Our scouts have mapped their military bases and government centers. The Deathbringers will take these targets first, then expand control. It always works, Lork said with confidence. 37 worlds before this one. Always the same result. There is something strange in the data, Vex noted. Humans have many weapons not in military hands. Civilians own them. Lork waved his hand dismissively. Primitives with toys. They are not soldiers. They will hide when the fighting starts. Vex nodded, but something troubled him. Still, orders were orders. Deathbringers, begin the conquest, he commanded into his communicator. In Seoul, the first attack came at dawn. Alien dropships descended on military bases and government buildings. The Deathbringers moved with perfect precision, their armor deflecting bullets from Korean soldiers. June watched the news with horror as the aliens took control of the Defense Ministry in less than an hour. They're following the pattern, he said to Mina. Just like historical conquests. Take the leadership, take the military, and the people will follow. Mina was on her phone, coordinating with members of her now greatly expanded network. I've heard from Taeyong. The aliens are moving toward the city center. They're not attacking civilians unless they resist. June thought for a moment. They expect us to be afraid, to stay inside and wait. That's not what we're going to do, is it? Their son, Dury asked. No, Mina said firmly. It's not. Director Kang had escaped the Defense Ministry through an underground tunnel. Now she operated from a backup facility, trying to coordinate what remained of Korea's military response. The pattern is the same worldwide, her aide reported. They hit military and government targets simultaneously in every major country. Conventional defenses are failing. Kang studied the invasion map. They're using textbook tactics, but their numbers are still small, maybe 200 Deathbringers in all of Korea. 200 is enough when our weapons can't hurt them, the aide said. Kang's phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. When she read it, her eyes widened. Maybe not all our weapons are useless, she said. In the mountains outside Seoul, old Mr. Han waited patiently. The 70-year-old hunter had been in this spot since before dawn, his hunting rifle ready. Through his scope, he watched an alien dropship land in the valley below, near a military communication station. 3 Deathbringers emerged. Their armor glinted in the morning sun as they moved with inhuman speed toward the station. Mr. Han took a deep breath and remembered what Mina had told their group yesterday. Try different ammunition. Report what works. He had brought his most powerful hunting rounds, designed to take down the largest game. He aimed at the lead alien, compensated for distance and wind, and squeezed the trigger. The sound echoed through the valley. Through his scope, he saw the alien stagger. His bullet had not penetrated the armor, but the alien clearly felt the impact. The Deathbringers immediately turned toward his position, weapons ready. Mr. Han quickly loaded another, more specialized round, one with a hardened tungsten core. He fired again, and this time saw something remarkable. The bullet hit a joint in the alien's armor between shoulder and chest. The alien fell. Mr. Han quickly moved from his position as the others fired toward him. His old legs carried him to his hidden truck as fast as they could. Once safe, he called Mina with shaking hands. I hit one, he said, his voice trembling with adrenaline. The armor has weak points at the joints, and the tungsten rounds can penetrate. Mina's voice was steady. Good work. Get home safely. I'll tell the others. Across the globe, similar experiments were happening as civilians tested the invaders' weaknesses. The Deathbringers had conquered many worlds, but never one where the civilian population was so well armed and experienced with weapons. The real test of Earth's resistance was just beginning. News of Mr. Hand's successful shot spread quickly. Within hours, Minna's network had shared the information with thousands of civilians across Korea. Similar groups were forming worldwide, sharing what they learned about the aliens. Their armor has weak points at the joints, Minna explained to the 30 people gathered in her basement, and certain ammunition works better than others. She pointed to a hand-drawn diagram of a Deathbringer. Military weapons are designed to kill humans, but hunters use rounds that can take down large animals. The physics is different. Taeyong raised his hand. I have a friend in the United States. Their hunting groups are reporting the same thing. Heavy hunting rounds can stagger them, and shots at the joints can penetrate. We need to coordinate, Jun said. This can't be random attacks. It needs to be strategic. In his command ship, Commander Vex received disturbing reports. 4 Deathbringers down in the last 6 hours, he told Admiral Lork. Not from military resistance. From scattered shots, single shooters. Lork frowned. Impossible. No primitive military could penetrate our armor. It wasn't their military, Vex said. Our analysis shows the attacks came from civilian areas, using non-standard weapons and ammunition. He showed Lork the footage. A Deathbringer patrol in what humans called Texas came under fire from 5 different positions. The shots came from hunting rifles, not military weapons. This makes no sense, Lork said. Civilians don't fight. They hide. That's what civilians do on every world. Not on this one, Vex replied grimly. Park Dojun had been hunting in the Korean mountains for 50 years. At 67, his eyes weren't as sharp as before, but he still rarely missed. He lay on a ridge overlooking a valley where 3 Deathbringers were setting up what looked like a communications device. Through his scope, he studied their movements. Joints are the weak point, he whispered to himself, remembering the message from Minna's network. He loaded a round that he normally used for hunting bear, aimed carefully at the neck joint of the nearest alien, and fired. The alien dropped immediately. Before the others could react, Dojun was already moving to a new position, just as he would when hunting cautious game. As the alien scanned for him, he took another shot from 200 meters away, hitting a second alien where its helmet met its chest plate. Another kill. The 3rd alien sent a blast of energy in his direction, but Dojun was already sliding down the backside of the ridge to his waiting electric bike. Silent and fast, he disappeared into the forest. Director Kang received reports from across Korea. 7 confirmed alien casualties in the last 12 hours, her aide reported, all from civilian shooters. And worldwide, Kang asked. Over 100 Deathbringers down, most in countries with strong hunting traditions, Russia, United States, Canada, Finland. Kang smiled for the first time since the invasion began. The Varn made a terrible mistake, she said. They study our militaries but didn't understand our people. Should we try to coordinate with these civilian groups? The aide asked. No. Let them work independently. The Varn can't track what they can't predict. Mina's phone buzzed with another success report. An old farmer near Busan had taken down 2 Deathbringers with his hunting rifle. That's 12 confirmed in Korea alone, she told June. June, who had been studying maps of Seoul, looked up. They're starting to change their patterns. The aliens are moving in larger groups now. They're adapting. So will we, Minna said. She called Taedong. Tell everyone to form small teams. 3 to 5 people, no larger. We need to hit and move, just like hunting deer. Across Seoul, civilians who had never considered themselves fighters were preparing to defend their home. Hunting club members taught others how to shoot. Sports shooters shared their knowledge of accuracy. Even gamers contributed, using their understanding of tactical movement and coordination. Commander Vex could not understand what was happening. The Deathbringers had never suffered such casualties in an invasion. "They're not fighting like a military," he told his officers. "They hit us and disappear. There's no pattern, no predictable movements." "They're fighting like hunters," one officer suggested, "not like soldiers." Vex stared at the map of Earth, now marked with red dots where Deathbringers had fallen. What kind of species hunts the hunters? He wondered aloud. The answer was becoming clear. Humans did. 1 week after the invasion began, Admiral Lork called an emergency meeting on his command ship. The holographic displays showed a troubling picture. Red dots marking fallen Deathbringers spread across Earth's continents. 326 casualties, Commander Vex reported. "We've lost more Deathbringers in 7 days than in our last 12 conquests combined." Lork slammed his fist on the table. "Impossible. Their weapons are primitive. Their militaries are in retreat." "It's not their militaries causing our losses," Vex said. "Our analysts have confirmed that over 80% of Deathbringer casualties come from civilian attacks." A science officer stepped forward. "Admiral, we've discovered something unusual about humans. Unlike other species we've conquered, they've been using weapons for hunting and personal defense for thousands of years." The officer displayed images on the screen. Ancient human cave paintings showing hunts, medieval bows and arrows, early firearms, modern hunting rifles. "On most worlds, weapons technology develops mainly for war," the officer continued. "But on Earth, millions of civilians know how to use weapons effectively. They have been hunting animals and practicing marksmanship as a hobby for generations." Lork stared at the images. "You're saying we're being defeated by hobbyists?" "Not defeated yet," Vex corrected. "But yes, their recreational hunters are proving more dangerous than their soldiers." In Seoul, Jum's living room had become a strategy center. Maps covered the walls, marked with alien patrol routes and successful ambush locations. "They're changing tactics again," Jum told the small group gathered there. "Moving in groups of 5 now, and staying in open areas where they can see attackers coming." Minna nodded. "Then we change too. We need to think like they do, predict their movements." Taeyong pointed to a map. "My cousin works at the water treatment plant. The aliens have set up a base there. They need the facility for something." June studied the location. Water is universal. They'd probably need it for their ships or personal use. "It's too open for a direct attack," Minna said. "But if we could predict when they move supplies." Their daughter Hannah, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. "They follow patterns. I've been watching the videos people share. The aliens do things at the same time each day." Everyone looked at the 12-year-old in surprise. "She's right," Jun said. "They're a military unit. Military units follow schedules." Director Kang received new intelligence from what remained of Korea's spy satellites. "The alien fleet is bringing down more ships," her aide reported. "They're calling in reinforcements." Kang studied the images. "That means we're hurting them. They didn't expect to need more forces." Her secure phone rang. A call from the hidden underground facility where the president was sheltering. "Madam President, the civilian resistance is working," Kang reported. "The aliens are taking significant losses. Can we win this?" the president asked. "Not conventionally," Kang admitted. "But we might be able to make the cost too high for them to continue." In a forest outside Seoul, Minna led a small team of 5 civilian hunters. They had been tracking an alien patrol for hours, staying downwind just as they would when hunting deer. "Remember," she whispered to the team, "aim for the joints. Neck, knees, elbows, and shoot together on my signal." The 5 Deathbringers moved through the forest, scanning regularly but missing the humans who knew this land intimately. They had hunted here for years and knew every tree and rock. Minna gave hand signals, positioning her team members. Each had a clear shot at a different alien. She tapped her radio 3 times, the signal to get ready. Then twice more, the signal to fire. 5 shots rang out almost simultaneously. 4 aliens fell immediately. The 5th fired wildly before a second shot from Taeyong brought it down. "Move now," Minna ordered. The team disappeared into the forest before any reinforcements could arrive. Commander Vex reviewed the footage from the fallen Deathbringers' armor cameras. "They're hunting us," he said quietly. "Not fighting. Hunting." The science officer nodded. Humans evolved as pursuit predators. They'd been hunting other species for their entire history, and now they're hunting us, Vex said. For the first time in his long military career, the commander felt something unfamiliar: doubt. The Varn Imperium had conquered many worlds, but Earth was proving different. Its people weren't just fighting for survival. They were fighting with skills honed over thousands of years of evolution and cultural development. The humans had turned the Deathbringers from predators into prey. 2 weeks into the invasion, both sides were changing their approaches. The Varn no longer sent small patrols into areas with cover. Deathbringers now moved in groups of 10 or more, staying in open spaces where they could see any threat coming. "We've lost over 500 Deathbringers," Vex reported. "But our new methods are working. Casualties have dropped by 60% in the last 3 days. 1,000 more Deathbringers will arrive tomorrow. We've never needed to deploy so many for a single world," Vex said. "This world is different," Lork admitted. "But all worlds fall to the Imperium eventually." Vex wasn't so sure. Something about Earth troubled him deeply. The humans didn't fight like any species they had encountered before. June looked at the new alien patrol patterns on his maps. The Resistance would need to adapt again. "They're staying in the open now," he told the gathered group in his basement, "and moving in larger groups. Direct attacks are becoming too dangerous." "Then we change our approach," Minna said. She had earned respect as a leader in the Resistance. What had started as her shooting club now coordinated hundreds of civilian fighters across Seoul. "I have an idea," said Subin, a quiet woman who had joined them recently. Everyone turned to listen. Though new to their group, Subin had proven herself valuable. Before the invasion, she had been an Olympic biathlete, skilled at both skiing and precision shooting. "The aliens are avoiding forests and buildings," Subin said. "But they still need to move between their bases. They follow roads and open areas." She pointed to the map. "They're predictable. We can use that." Director Kang met secretly with military commanders from what remained of Korea's armed forces. "The civilian resistance is effective, but the aliens are adapting," she said. "They stay in open areas where traditional ambushes don't work." General Park looked troubled. "My soldiers can't match what these civilians are doing. The Deathbringers still deflect our standard weapons." "Then we learn from the civilians," Kang said. "We need to change our equipment and tactics. No more fighting like a conventional army." Subin led a small team to a high-rise building overlooking a wide avenue. Intelligence from their network indicated that alien patrols moved along this route 3 times daily. "This is different from hunting in the woods," she told her team as they set up their positions. "This is more like tournament shooting. Distance, wind, timing. All must be perfect." The team consisted of former competitive shooters from across Korea. Each had spent years practicing precise shots at targets hundreds of meters away. They set up their rifles. Not military sniper weapons, but highly accurate civilian target rifles with custom ammunition. 800 meters to the patrol route, Subin said, checking her calculations. "Adjust for wind and gravity." They waited patiently. Hours passed. No one spoke or moved unnecessarily. This kind of patience was familiar to them. Competitive shooting required the same mental discipline. Finally, their spotter whispered, "Target convoy approaching." Through her scope, Subin saw 10 Deathbringers moving in formation, scanning constantly for threats. But they were scanning the ground level, not the high windows. "On my mark," she said calmly. 3, 2, 1, mark. 5 shots fired almost as one. Through their scopes, they watched 5 Deathbringers fall. The others immediately took defensive positions, but they didn't know where the attack came from. Second volley. Subin ordered. 3, 2, 1, mark. 5 more shots. 3 more aliens fell. The remaining 2 fired energy weapons wildly at nearby buildings, but not at the correct one. Final targets, Subin said. Fire when ready. 2 more shots ended the patrol. Pack up, she ordered calmly. We move immediately. Within 3 minutes, the team had disappeared from the building, leaving no trace of their presence. Commander Vex received the report of the lost patrol with growing frustration. How? He demanded. They were in an open area, following all new protocols. The officer displayed the trajectory analysis. Long-range shots from high elevation. Extremely precise. All shots hit joint sections of the armor. Professionals? Vex asked. Not military snipers, the officer replied. The weapons used match what humans call sport shooting equipment, civilian competition rifles. Vex stared at the analysis in disbelief. They're not just hunting us now. They're turning this into a sport. On screens around him, reports came in of similar attacks worldwide. Humans were adapting faster than the Deathbringers could respond. For every tactic the Varn developed, the humans created a counter-tactic. For the first time, Vex wondered if the Imperium had finally met a species it could not conquer. 3 weeks into the invasion, the balance was shifting. Despite the arrival of reinforcements, the Varn were losing Deathbringers faster than ever. What had begun as scattered resistance had grown into a coordinated global effort. Admiral Lork paced the command deck of his ship, his blue skin now pale with stress. 1,000 new Deathbringers deployed, he muttered. 200 already lost. This has never happened before. Commander Vex stood silently, reviewing the latest reports. The humans were not just defending. They were beginning to attack Varn bases and outposts. Admiral, Vex said carefully, I believe we should consider changing our overall strategy. Lork turned sharply. The Imperium does not change its conquest protocols. We have used the same approach for 10,000 years, and it has never failed until now, Vex agreed. But Earth is different. Their civilian population is causing 85% of our casualties. No other species has done this. A communications officer interrupted them. Admiral, we've lost contact with Forward Base 3 in the region they call Sol. Subin's plan was working better than anyone had expected. What had started as long-range shooting attacks had evolved into something more ambitious. The command center is in this building, she explained to the 20 civilians gathered in an abandoned subway tunnel. Based on our observations, they have 15 Deathbringers guarding it. Mina studied the detailed maps Subin had prepared. How did you get this information? I was part of Korea's Olympic team, Subin said. I know these buildings well. The aliens took over the old Olympic training center. I trained there for years. Jun looked at the group around him. None were soldiers. There was Taeyong, once a computer programmer. Next to him stood Mr. Han, the elderly hunter. 3 university students who had been competitive shooters. A middle-aged woman who had won national archery competitions. A former park ranger who knew every trail in the mountains. Ordinary people who had become something more. This will be different from our previous operations, Jun warned. This isn't an ambush. It's an assault on their base. It's still hunting, Mr. Han said quietly. Just more dangerous prey. Director Kang received the message from Mina's network with disbelief. They're planning to attack the alien command center, she asked her aide. 20 civilians with hunting and sport shooting experience, the aide confirmed. They've studied the facility for days. They believe they can do it. Kang thought for a moment. Can we support them? Not directly, but we can create a distraction elsewhere in the city. Kang nodded. Do it, and pray they succeed. The attack began at dusk, while Korean military forces staged a diversionary attack across the city. Subin led her team through maintenance tunnels beneath the Olympic complex. Remember, she whispered as they prepared to emerge. Aim for the joints. Make every shot count. Move fast and stay silent. The first 2 guards fell without raising an alarm, taken down by arrows from the archery champion. Silent and deadly, the arrows struck the small gaps in the alien's neck armor. The team moved through the building with practiced precision. They had rehearsed this operation for days, using Subin's perfect memory of the facility's layout. 4 more Deathbringers fell to carefully placed shots before alarms finally sounded. By then, they had reached the central command room. "Now," Subin ordered. The team fired as one, targeting the 5 Deathbringers inside. The aliens fell before they could return fire effectively. Taeyong rushed to the alien computer terminals. Before the invasion, he had studied the patterns in alien technology. Now he worked quickly, downloading data and planting the virus he had created. "Done," he said after 2 minutes. "Their communications are blind." Subin nodded. "Place the charges. We have 3 minutes to exit." The team retreated the way they had come, encountering 4 more Deathbringers who fell to their coordinated fire. As they reached the tunnels below, the first explosions shook the building. Commander Vex was on a different base when he felt the shock wave across the city. "What was that?" he demanded. "Forward Base 3, his officer reported. "Completely destroyed. All Deathbringers lost." Vex could not believe it. "How? Who?" The officer displayed the last images transmitted from the base. The attackers were not soldiers. They wore civilian clothes, used civilian weapons, but moved with deadly precision. On his command ship, Admiral Lork received the report with growing horror. Not only had the humans destroyed a major Varn base, but they had also stolen critical data and disrupted communications across the sector. Admiral Lork stood before the holographic display showing Earth. Red dots covered the planet, each marking a fallen Deathbringer. The pattern was clear. The Varn were losing. 1,732 Deathbringers lost, Commander Vex reported. "Over 60% of our deployed forces." "How?" Lork demanded, though he already knew the answer. "How can primitives defeat the greatest military force in the galaxy?" "They are not fighting as we expected," Vex said. "They don't fight like a military at all. They fight like..." "Like what?" "Like a species that evolved to hunt," Vex finished. "Every human is a potential fighter. We cannot tell civilians from warriors because for them, there is little difference." The science officer who had been studying human culture stepped forward. "Admiral, humans have been killing things since they first picked up sticks and rocks. They've designed sports around shooting. They've turned hunting into recreation. Their entire history is filled with ordinary people becoming fighters when needed." Lork stared at the display in silence. Then he made a decision no Varn admiral had made in 10,000 years. "Send the signal to all forces," he ordered. "Begin withdrawal to orbital positions." Vex could not hide his shock. "Withdrawal? The Imperium has never retreated. The Imperium has never lost over 1,000 Deathbringers to civilian fighters either," Lork snapped. "We will regroup and reconsider our approach." The news spread quickly through Seoul. The aliens were pulling back. Their ground forces were returning to their ships. Jun could hardly believe the reports coming in from around the world. "They're retreating everywhere," he told the gathered resistance members. "London, New York, Moscow, Beijing. The Deathbringers are withdrawing to their ships." Minna looked skeptical. "Is it a trick? A new tactic?" "I don't think so," Subin said. "The data Taeyong stole from their command center suggests they've never faced this situation before. They don't have a protocol for this kind of resistance." Taeyong nodded. "Their systems showed massive confusion. Their casualties are unprecedented in their history." The room fell silent as everyone processed what this meant. They, ordinary people with no military training, had done what no species had done before. "We haven't won yet," Jun cautioned. "Their ships are still in orbit." "But we shown them something important," Mr. Han said, his weathered face breaking into a smile. "Humans don't surrender easily." Director Kang received the news in her underground command center. Confirmed retreats in all major cities, her aide reported. The Deathbringers are returning to their ships. Kang allowed herself a small smile. And our civilian fighters. They're responsible for over 80% of alien casualties. The official military forces account for less than 20%. The president's voice came through the secure line. Is this victory, Director Kang? Not yet, Madam President, Kang replied. But it's something no one expected. Ordinary people have done the impossible. In their home, Jun and Minna watched the alien ships hovering above Seoul. Their children stood beside them, no longer afraid but cautious. What happens now? Hannah asked. I don't know, Jun admitted. But whatever comes next, we face it together. Mina's phone buzzed with a message from Subin. The Global Resistance Network is picking up strange signals from the alien ships. They're communicating with each other more than usual. Before Jun could respond, all screens and devices lit up with a message. Admiral Lork's face appeared. People of Earth, the alien said, his tone noticeably different from his first message. The Varn Imperium acknowledges your unexpected capabilities. We are temporarily suspending ground operations. Mina and Jun exchanged shocked glances. This is not surrender, Lork continued. This is strategic reassessment. You have proven unusual among the species we have encountered. The message ended, leaving an uneasy silence. Did we just make aliens retreat? Dury asked in amazement. Yes, Jun said quietly. Ordinary people with hunting rifles and target pistols made the galaxy's most feared military force back down. Outside, they could see the first alien ships beginning to move higher into the atmosphere, not leaving entirely, but pulling back. The Imperium that had conquered 37 worlds without a single defeat had just experienced its first retreat. And it wasn't at the hands of Earth's armies, but its civilians. The hunters had become the most dangerous prey in the galaxy. 6 months after the Varn retreat, Earth had changed forever. The alien ships remained in orbit, but no Deathbringers had set foot on the planet since the withdrawal. Instead, something unexpected happened. Communication. Jun adjusted his tie nervously as he entered the newly constructed Galactic Council building in Seoul. Once a history teacher, he now found himself part of history. Ready? Minna asked, walking beside him. She wore a formal suit instead of her usual hunting gear. As ready as I'll ever be, Jun replied. They entered the main chamber where representatives from Earth's nations sat on one side. On the other side were the Varn, led by Admiral Lork, but there were other aliens too, delegates from the wider Galactic Council that the Varn were part of. Director Kang greeted them. The Galactic Council representatives are very interested in meeting you too, especially you, Minna. They can't believe a civilian shooting club coordinator caused so much trouble for the Deathbringers. Minna smiled. Not just me. Millions of ordinary people. That's what fascinates them, Kang said. No other species has a civilian population capable of this. Admiral Lork approached them, looking uncomfortable but formal. In person, his blue skin had a pattern of subtle markings that weren't visible in transmissions. Teacher Jun, Hunter Minna, he said, using the titles they had been given in official communications. The Imperium's Supreme Council wishes to speak with you. A large screen activated, showing 3 elderly Varn with elaborate clothing. We have studied your species for several months now, the central figure said. You are unique in our experience. No other world has civilians who outfought our elite forces. Jun stepped forward. Humans have a different history than your other conquered worlds. Our people have been using weapons for hunting and self-defense for our entire history. Yes, we have learned this, the Varn leader replied. It is why we are offering Earth membership in the Galactic Council, not conquest. Murmurs filled the room. This was not what anyone expected. The Varn Imperium has controlled this sector for 10,000 years, the leader continued. We have never encountered a species with your particular qualities. Your civilians fight better than most militaries. Later that day, Jun found himself explaining human history to a group of fascinated alien delegates. In our past, almost every adult knew how to use weapons, he explained. Not just soldiers, but farmers, merchants, everyone. Even when we became more peaceful, many humans continued hunting or target shooting as recreation. A delegate with green skin and 4 eyes looked confused. You kill things for fun. For food, for sport, for practice, Jun clarified. It's part of our culture. Across the room, Minna was showing alien observers human weapons. This rifle is designed to hit targets accurately at long distances, she explained. Millions of humans practice with these for competitions. An alien scientist studied the rifle with multiple eyes. And your young learn these skills early. Some do, Minna said. I started shooting competitively when I was 12. The alien made a note. This explains much. 1 year after the invasion, Earth had become something no one expected, a respected power in the galaxy. The Varn Imperium had been forced to adopt new policies, and the Deathbringer Legion had been reassigned away from Earth. In their home, Jun and Minna prepared for another day of diplomatic work. Their children were attending a new school that included young aliens from friendly worlds. Did you ever think we'd end up here? Minna asked as they got ready. Teaching aliens about human hunting techniques. Never, Jun laughed. I was just a history teacher. And I just taught people to shoot straight, Minna added. Their son Duri burst into the room, excited. Dad, Mom, the exchange program is approved. I get to visit the Centauri worlds next month. The galaxy had opened to humanity faster than anyone imagined. Earth's unique history had turned from a curiosity into a valuable perspective in galactic politics. Admiral Lork, now serving as ambassador to Earth, stood beside Director Kang watching human and alien children playing together in a park. We made a mistake coming here to conquer, Lork admitted. We should have come to learn. Kang nodded. Everyone underestimates what ordinary people can do when protecting their home. The galaxy won't make that mistake again, Lork said. Humans have changed everything. The Imperium that stood for 10,000 years was transformed not by another empire, but by civilians with hunting rifles. The greatest military force in the galaxy had learned a lesson. Sometimes the most dangerous species isn't the one with the biggest army, but the one where every citizen is ready to fight.